What's up, SEO pros? Big news! I recently discovered SEO Nitro, and let me tell you, it's a game changer. In just days, I saw incredible results that blew my mind. With SEO Nitro, you can get links from thousands of different C-block IPs, the most powerful links at a fraction of the cost. Patent software lets you control your entire backlink profile in minutes. Add, remove, and change links at any time. Protect your site from Google's changes with SEO Nitro's revolutionary backlinking software. Imagine having the power to have laser-targeted themed backlinks, automated link spinning, set it and forget it. Thousands of stellar sites and manual and automated posting options. SEO Nitro is the ultimate SEO weapon. Head on to SEONitro.com now to revolutionize your SEO game. Don't miss out on page 1. It's just click away. Hey, what's up everyone? Happy Friday. Today we have Will Critchlow. We'll be talking about how to showcase your SEO value to your clients, to your leadership. It's gonna be a good one, guys. If you ever need to really show the value of SEO, Will be here to share his insights on how to do that. He's given many talks about it. I believe he gave this talk also at Brighton SEO San Diego. There are tickets still available for SEO Spring Training. Check out SEOspringtraining.com. Be sure to check that out. SEOspringtraining.com. Don't be shy, guys. I see a bunch of you out there. Say hi in the live chat. Let me know where you're watching from. I do have one more SEO in 2024 book available to send out to anyone in the US. Just shoot me an email at dre@seo.video and I'll mail you this book for free. Happy Friday, Kenneth. A little quiet out there, guys. What's up? How you guys doing? There we go, Carol. Hello from Seattle, Washington. So how many of you got hit with that penalty or that new update? Spam update, core update. I believe it's still rolling out. I have a few video clips to share on to help if you have been hit. I think about 7 more minutes to go. I see a bunch of you out there. Don't be shy, guys. Say hi in the live chat while we wait for Will. If you're just tuning in, we have Will Critchlow, and we'll be talking about how you can show SEO value to leadership. Basically, show the SEO value to your clients, to your company. Some great ones. If you haven't seen my other podcast I started, go to YouTube and search Magic PR, the Magic PR Show. It's a digital PR podcast, reviewing the top digital PR experts. Ernesto, yo. If you're just tuning in, we have Will Critchlow in today from Search Pilot. Fletcher says, hello, everyone. We're talking about how to showcase your SEO value to leadership, to clients, to your company. Some good stuff. Everyone should be taking notes. If you are an SEO practitioner, SEO consultant, this will be a great episode for you. If you're over at LinkedIn or on Twitter, I can't see your questions if you're asking questions over there. So be sure to come over to YouTube if you have some questions and be part of the conversation. Luther says hi. Let me check my email and make sure Will is okay. If you're just tuning in, we got Will Critchlow. And today's topic will be show SEO value to leadership. Okay, I see Will in the back. Will, can you hear me? Oh yeah, there we go. See you, look good, sound good, hair looks good, love it.
Yeah, how are we doing?
We're doing good, doing good. We got 4 more minutes. We just have a lot of people just joining the chat saying hi. And if you guys are just tuning in, we have Will Critchlow in today, and we'll be talking about how to show SEO value to leadership. A great topic for you guys. Whether you're an SEO consultant, in-house SEO, this will be something for you to take notes on. Oh yeah. Don't be shy, guys. I see a bunch of you out there. Say hi to live chat. Say hi to Will. Say hi to me.
Just about to join the chat.
Happy Friday, fellas. Thank you, Lucy. Logan. Hi, Will and Dre. Hello, Logan. All right, guys, we got about 3 more minutes to go. If you're just tuning in, we have Will Critchlow in today, and we'll be talking about how to show your SEO value to leadership. Basically, to show SEO value to your clients, your company, so you can get more budget or you can get paid more. Kobe says, "What's up, Dre and Will?" It's evening right now, right? I mean, we have daylight savings time. It's a little bit earlier, right? For you now, is it?
Yeah, this was confusing. So normally I think we do 8 hours time difference, but it is just coming up to 7 p.m.
Oh, 7, yeah, because usually it's 8 p.m. out when we.
That's right.
Yeah. Oh yeah. How'd your week go? Profitable? Love it.
Yeah.
There we go. Love it.
Yeah. How was yours?
Good. Doing good. I potentially locked in a new client myself, so some good stuff there. Sweet. Will says, "Hi everyone. Great to see you all." All right, so in the very beginning, in the first about 8 minutes or so, I go over like a few videos I found over the internet this past week, and I share them. And then it's like about 8 minutes after the hours when I'll actually introduce you into the live stream. All right. So I'm gonna go ahead and put you on mute right now, and then I'll cue you in. You'll know when you're in. All right, guys. Get your last minute shouts outs. Let me know where you're watching from. If you're just tuning out, we have Will Critchlow, and we'll be talking about how to show your SEO value to leadership. All right, guys, let's go ahead and get things started here. Want to unlock the keys to search engine dominance in 2024? The 5th annual SEO Spring Training Conference returns April 3rd through 7th in Scottsdale, Arizona. Join hundreds of search engine marketers and leaders to get the latest strategies, tactics, and insights to boost your SEO success. attend over 40 sessions on topics like advanced SEO techniques, AI optimization, local SEO, and more. And actual takeaways from renowned industry professionals leading the way in SEO innovation. And most importantly, connect and build relationships through networking events designed to foster career growth and strong community of marketing peers. Space is limited, so secure your spot today before tickets sell out. Visit SEOspringtraining.com to register and check out conference details. Level up your SEO skills in Scottsdale with SEO Spring Training 2024.
Hey Dre, why do they call it the Mini Panda Update? Because it finds content that's a little bare.
Yeah. Hey, time to get it started. No delay, let's work. Wanna see you be an SEO expert. Paul Andre De Vera, steady dropping knowledge. Over 15 years in the game, so he knows all about it. Master the art of SEO, you will be amazed. Time to get your brand off page to on page. Dropping knowledge, legendary for sure. Whether you're just getting started or self-employed entrepreneur. Yeah, let's go. Subscribe to the SEO video show.
Hey, welcome to another episode of the SEO video show where SEO is alive and fun. My name is Paul Andre De Vera, aka Dre, and I curate SEO videos released within the past week into about 1-minute clips. My favorite part of the show is when I get to introduce my guest, and my guest today is Will Critchlow of Search Pilot. Before we get started, let's say what's up to everyone in chat. I see Will, Kobe, Logan, Lucy, Luther, Fletcher, Nesto, Carol, Kenneth. What's up, everyone? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Now let's get on with the show. All right, so first with Google. Google is still actually rolling out the March core and spam updates, and I have a few clips to share on how you can prevent being affected by these types of updates. Google also clarified references to page experience and core web vitals. You can read more about it in the link below. Why being risk-averse is essential for avoiding Google algorithm updates and penalties. Lily Ray shares her insights. Let's check this one out.
And then I woke up one morning and the penguin update wiped out all of our SEO traction for years. So there is a reason I am this way. This is not because I'm a Google suck-up. This is because I'm an SEO professional and I want the sites that I work on to succeed. I want my clients to succeed. This is why I'm always thinking about the most risk-averse way to approach SEO, because I hate seeing websites that are legitimate businesses who are trying to do things right get affected by Google updates. But as we can all see by now, it happens all the time because people don't understand what Google's really suggesting to do or not do in many cases. But if you read between the lines, that the patterns are very, very clear. So my team and I have been working for years helping websites recover from core updates, penalties, manual actions, all of this. So what I share is what I've learned during that journey. Anyway, the spam updates that started getting sent out this week, Google's using what's called a pure spam update for many of these types of sites. This can be applied to your entire domain. It can be applied to a subfolder or a subdomain. And this has been happening. In fact, just that has been happening this week. There's been many sites that have been hit on the domain level. So if you do a site : search for their site, the whole thing is removed from search. The rankings are removed from search.
Being risk averse and safe all depends on your industry and competition. I mean, we all know like the casino and adult niches are filled with spammy links that actually work. I mean, however, you wouldn't do this to your B2B client or startup. Just be a responsible SEO for clients and do all the edgy stuff on your own sites. Here are some proven steps to beat Google updates by auditing your own content by Authority Hacker. Let's check this one out.
But basically, if Google is going to sample pages on your site and give them a quality score, we're going to do the same with our auditing process, right? We're going to go through essentially all the indexed pages on our website. It's very precise, index, not all the pages. So if you have no index stuff, it doesn't matter. And no indexing stuff works. As we could see from the anonymous case study that I showed, actually he no indexed 90% of the pages on the site and his traffic went up actually. So no index is going to be an option. And your role is going to be going through your pages that essentially are low quality score and either delete them. So if they have no traffic and no links, we tend to delete them because they add very little value. Unless you maybe have a realistic shot at ranking for the keyword, but that's where you evaluate your keywords. Redirect them. So if a page has no traffic but links, you're much better off redirecting that page to a page that has a shot at actually getting traffic. You can update the page. So essentially, if the page is valuable for your business, it can help you make sales, etc., and some of the content is salvageable, then we do a content update, which is essentially you keep the core of the content and you just fix it, you patch it up basically. Or you can rewrite everything. That's when nothing's salvageable, but the page is valuable to you. Or you can no index pages. So we do that when the page is valuable to the user, but we don't think that's what Google is looking for. So for example, an example is like a lot of people like republishing their newsletter on their site, right?
I'm a massive advocate for content refreshes and pruning. I mean, ensure your site is filled with high quality content and is up to date with traffic. How Matt Diggity dominates Google SEO without building websites. Let's check this one out.
I'm going to find and buy a website instead of building one from scratch. It'll have a bunch of content that you don't need to write, a bunch of backlinks that you don't have to build, and it's already past the sandbox, so you've bought yourself 6 months of time. What I'm gonna do is Google the main commercial keyword that the niche tries to monetize, like best LSAT course. Then I'm looking at websites on page 2 to 5. These are websites that Google likes, but they're probably not making a lot of money yet. I'm gonna make these website owners an offer. Head on over to their contact page and send them an email like this. Subject line, interested in buying, insert URL here. Hi there, Matt Diggity here, CEO and founder of Diggity Marketing and affiliate SEO agency Leadspring. I'll get straight to the point. I'm interested in buying your website from you at a generous market price. All cash up front. Are you interested in selling? If so, just respond to this email and we can set up a time to talk. With any luck, you can get your hands on a cheap site that gives you a nice foundation to work from. Real quick, if you're committed to leveling up in SEO this year, make sure...
I've always wanted to buy up websites, but I mean, you need some capital to do that. So the sites you see like on Flippa and other marketplaces are just out of my budget. So I'm curious on Matt's success rate on these cold call type of pitches. And I'm sure the site's price can be substantially cheaper. A mistake every SEO newbie makes by Nathan Gotch. Let's check this one out.
Don't juice your traffic numbers. SEO is nothing more than a means to an end, and that end is more traffic, leads, and sales. And that's why you never want to be obsessed with traffic. You need to become obsessed with generating revenue. And that all begins and ends with keyword research. The truth is, an SEO specialist can't control product quality, how the offer is presented, and how well a business can sell its product. But what you can control is the quality of the traffic that you send to a website. Unfortunately, many agencies know how to lie with data. So what they'll do is they'll target informational keywords with lots of search volume to juice their clients' traffic numbers. But in the end, the client is confused why traffic is increased, but sales haven't grown. And that's because informational keywords rarely lead to direct conversions. And that's why my keyword research process uses a bottom-up approach. Instead of caring about search volume, we care about intent and conversions. And then from there, every single action is based on improving the performance of keywords that actually drive revenue. So let's say I want to rank for SEO training St. Louis, which has investigative intent. First, I'd build a dedicated page that focuses 100% on the target keyword. Then I'd identify keywords that can support the bottom of the funnel page, like is SEO a good career or is coding required for SEO? These informational keywords are designed to support the commercial keywords.
Want to show the SEO value to your company or client? That brings me to my favorite part of the show. Please ask questions on the topic and I will address them in the order that they are received. Before we get started, here is a word from our sponsor. Are you struggling to get high authority backlinks? My buddy Ferry has a perfect solution for you.
How much do you think this digital PR campaign is worth? Wait just 1 minute before you answer. Watch as we hijack the news with Taylor Swift and Barbie to get you the links. Now we can take this dataset from ONS and paste it right into your emails to get you the links. Now how much do you think this campaign is worth? Don't answer. Wait until you see Bloomberg, BBC, Forbes, top tier national and regional news outlets, reactive PR, data PR, expert commentary, over 70 team members at your disposal. This product is so hot I need a fan! And then listen to what campaigns we do at no extra charge. Gain character wages, bananas and sleep, best dates for dogs, luckiest UK areas, and many more. All for just how much did you guess? 10,000? 20,000? Even more? No! It's just £5,500. That's right. It's 5.5 grand. It's an incredible value, but it's true. It's digital PR from Search Intelligence. Order today. PO Box searchintelligence.co.uk. Accept B2B clients.
Will founder Distilled in 2005. He's also the founder of Search Lab Conference Series in 2009. He built Search Pilot platform for SEO A/B testing in February 2020. His Distilled and Search Lab business was acquired by Brain Labs, and now he spends most of his time running Search Pilot, live streaming, and speaking at marketing conference. Please welcome Will Critchlow. Will, my man, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me on. I love the hype intro.
Love it, love it, love it. Everyone's give a round of applause. All right, I'm going to get right into it. This is the first question I ask all my SEO professionals that come on here. In 1 minute or less, how does Will get ranking on page 1 of Google?
Love it. Obviously, if we knew the answer to this question, then we'd spend a lot less time talking about it. But I should say, what we do these days is we're focused on the experimentation side. So I'm going to come at it from that angle. There's many different ways you could talk about this, right? You could talk about you could talk about content creation, you could talk about link building. So I'm just going to talk about one facet, which is experimentation. And what we do is we run these controlled SEO experiments, essentially. So very large websites. Our customers are folks like travel, e-commerce, jobs, real estate, those kind of websites. And we're splitting their pages into different groups. So we've got a control group of pages and a variant group of pages. And we can then run experiments that are controlled scientific experiments to figure out whether our hypothesis is going to help us move up or not. And that's under a minute. There you go.
Love it, love it. Hold on. Let's rewind this real quick. Hold on. Can you take us way back to what? 2005? When did you first get into SEO?
Yeah, I mean, 2005 is when we started the company that became Distilled, but the story goes back further than that. So my co-founder, Duncan Morris, and I went to school together, what we call secondary school in the UK. So age 11, we met for the first time, and we started building businesses together in our teenage years. So this was in the 90s, basically. And the first stuff that we got really passionate about was building websites. So we started building websites. We had a small business in 1998. And then when we'd been to university, had a job for a couple of years, worked for the man, all that kind of stuff, we decided to start the company that would become Distilled in 2005. And we were still building websites at that point. And so that was the kind of era. And if you remember back then, this is before Facebook newsfeed, before Twitter, search was really the only way to find websites. And so it was kind of pragmatic on that side. And then on the other side, I just always found it fascinating. I love the kind of algorithm side, the geeky side, and the tech and business kind of coming together, which is obviously related to some of the stuff that we're going to talk about today.
Love that. Love that. So I'm curious, how'd you actually learn it then?
Well, I feel like the same way most folks learn it, which is a lot of trial and error, trying to read a lot, trying to do it ourselves. And we used to, so because we were building websites, we got a lot of hands-on experience of seeing things that worked or didn't work for our clients at the time, and also seeing things they'd already tried. So we were kind of debugging what was wrong with their current website, as well as building new websites. So it's a very hands-on process, right? We built hundreds of small business websites and got to see loads of often quite local, relatively uncompetitive SEO stuff in the early days, and built it up from there. Just built it up gradually. Used to read a lot. SEO Moz, as back in the day, was where we used to hang out. Again, before Twitter, it was all the comment section of blog posts on SEO Moz, and I still have I have many friends that I made in that comment section, weirdly enough. And then I remember we went to a couple of conferences. So the SMX conference series, we went to SMX Advanced and SMX West in I want to say 2007, 2008, that kind of era. Went to the early SEO Pro, what would become MozCon in Seattle. And that was a moment when we started, we figured out a lot of the stuff people were talking about stage. And I think a lot of people go through that kind of journey of learning stuff and then realizing that they know it, and then, worried that you don't know everything, a chance to build your confidence.
Love that. Love that. So I'm speaking of conferences. You actually started your own conference series, right? With Search Love. Can you tell us, like, a little bit of history on Search Love, and then bring us to your full time on Search Pilot?
That's right. So yeah, we ran the first conference. I mentioned what was called the Pro SEO Training Conference. That was the precursor to MozCon back in the SEO Moz days. Okay. Spoke at a couple of those in Seattle, and then we were partnering with the SEO Moz folks, and we decided between us to run a London version of that conference. So it was called Pro SEO Training in London in 2009, and it was a partnership. If I remember correctly, I think we got the ticket revenue, and SEO Moz got the video sale revenue, which back then was not like this. It was literally shipping DVDs to folks. And that was great. Tons of fun. We sold that out. And then they took the US version and turned it into MozCon. And we took the one we'd run and turned it into Search Love, initially in London and then in the US as well. And we built that up over many years, ended up running London, New Orleans, New York, Boston, San Diego, Philly. And had a ton of fun doing that. And then that was part of the package that we sold, so that the agency Distilled and the conference series of Search Love was what we sold to Brain Labs. Brain Labs has started out as a PPC agency, is now full service digital, and the old Distilled team is like the SEO engine of that. And they've gone on to great things, and we in the process spun out this technology platform as an independent startup. And so I'm back to startup land, back to bootstrapped, and we're running Search Pilot. As I mentioned, we focus on enterprise SEO testing.
Love that. Okay, so this brings me to our topic of today. And I want to kind of you gave a great presentation at Brighton SEO, another conference in San Diego. And I kind of want to touch upon that because not everyone was able to attend there, and I want to share it with the audience. I mean, starting with the basics, could you explain how the current economic climate is uniquely challenging for SEO professionals, and how it compares to the past downturns you've experienced since 2005?
Yeah, so, my experience of downturns goes back further than that, because I graduated from college right into the dot-com bust. And so that was obviously I wasn't running my own business at that point, but of the cohort of folks who joined the company that I joined out of college, 6 of us supposed to join, and they cut that to 3, I think pretty much randomly because of the economic conditions. And I was lucky enough to make that cut, but I think it was just luck, really. And so that was my the fickleness, I guess, of the macro economy. Then we were running the business through the global financial crisis, 2008, 2009, which was harsher than anything we're experiencing today, but it was offset somewhat for folks in digital, just because it was such an early stage of the digital growth. The speed of growth of all kinds of digital, whether it was advertising, whether it was SEO, kind of meant that investment actually didn't drop year over year. There were dips along the way, but if you look every year, 07, 01 beats the previous year. So tough time for certain kinds of investment from certain kinds of companies was kind of different. And then of course we, like all of us, traded through COVID impact in 2020, and that was crazy sharp drop. Search Pilot lost a ton of our monthly recurring revenue kind of overnight. Back half the year, the second half of the year, made up for that. It grew like a swoosh shaped recovery for us, not for some sectors and whatever. But what we're seeing today is challenging in a different way. The end of the kind of zero interest rate period, inflation, both sides of the land, and in the UK, there's an unconfidence in the economy. And I think especially in the US, the indicators are good, right? The economy is actually doing quite well, but folks are nervous and worried and don't feel that it's doing well. And that's partly because of the inflation and many other things. And we're not on a lot of the companies that are client side who are waiting, pausing, being cautious, slowing that. So the sales process is slower. There are fewer deals out there. And I've definitely heard from a lot of consultants and agency folks that it can be quite tough times out there. So my experience that I would draw upon is these things don't last forever, right? There will be good times again, and so what we need to do is hunker down and get through it. Invest for the future, encourage our clients to do the sustainable stuff that's going to stand them in good stead. There's a ton of research that shows that companies that invest in marketing through the downturns or through the slowdowns come out stronger and beat their competition over the long run. We actually have a great case study on the Searchpilot website of Skyscanner, the travel company, investing throughout the whole COVID period. They carried on testing throughout the whole time. And we're so thankful that they partnered with us to do that. We did our best to support them. We helped them out in a variety of ways through that time, gave them longer time period to pay and various other things. And that partnership bore fruit because they ended up recovering more quickly than the travel sector as a whole. And so I think, keep the faith, look out for the opportunities as they come, stay resilient, and good times will come back.
Love that. Okay, you actually discussed also the importance of doing more with less, right? I mean, could you share a specific example or a case study where an SEO team successfully maximized the limited resources to achieve significant results?
Yeah, so what I was talking about here was, it's just something I've heard over and over again. Actually, I think even since I gave that talk in, as you said, in San Diego, which I think that was November, right? So that's not quite 6 months ago, five months ago. I actually think things have got slightly better. So what I was hearing then, and obviously inflation was higher, that there was a little bit less, there was even less confidence in the market. But what I was hearing, almost every conversation was in-house teams were telling me either budgets have been cut, we've been asked to do more with fewer people, less investment, whatever it might be. And actually, to be fair, I've started hearing that a little less. So I'm optimistic. I'm hopeful that the economy can improve. We're through the worst of the inflation and so forth. But what we've tried to focus on is looking for those multifaceted reasons for doing the initiatives that we're doing. And what I'm talking about there is, if we're running an SEO testing program, we are also able to quickly roll out fixes and enhancements to the website, even beyond the stuff that we're testing. We are able to make multifaceted business cases where we can say, look, we're going to quickly cover the costs of this program with some fixes. We're going to look for upsides through the testing program. We're going to avoid the damaging drops and downsides of making changes. And the crucial one that we're trying to focus on is also that if we can be efficient in the demands on the engineering team's time, and that happens multiple ways, we can get some stuff done, but also we can, by running these tests, if only 20% of your tests are positive, the other 4 out of 5, you never have to bother the engineering team with. And so the efficiency gain potentially allows them to focus on what they're trying to focus on. And this is just how we're trying to think that aligns with this language that was coming out of leadership teams and executive teams at our customers and our prospects.
Excellent.
Love that. Okay.
I love that film, by the way. Incidentally, so my kids are young teenagers, and I recently have been going back and watching my favorite old films from my youth with them, and so we've recently watched a bit of Bill and Ted.
Did they like it? I'm curious because that was one of my favorite shows too.
They do like it. My son especially has quite a kind of slapstick sense of humor, so all the kind of dumb stuff goes down really well. I don't know that it's necessarily these films have aged especially well, but we've definitely been having some fun.
Love that. Okay, so you actually highlighted 2 common mistakes in your talk: over relying on large budgets and providing vague justifications for SEO initiatives. I mean, how can SEO professionals craft more compelling evidence-based arguments to secure that necessary funding?
Yeah, well, so as I mentioned a few times, what we're focusing on is testing, but keeping it broader than testing for a second. Okay. I think the key really is tying to the business. And what I see, the biggest mistakes that I see folks make is geeking out, just looking at the technology, looking at the need to fix that kind of SEO bug, if you like. The best practice says that we need to do this thing to the website because that's what you should do for SEO. And that might speak to an SEO geek like me, but that doesn't speak to the budget holder, the senior executive, the leader of the team. And so the key things I think are connecting to their objectives. So what are they on the hook for, right? And once you get senior enough in any organization, you have certain KPIs, certain metrics that you are accountable for, and you have to explain what's going on, whether they're going in the right direction, if not, why not, and what you're going to do about it. And if you don't do that, you're not going to be around for very long in these larger competitive organizations. And so a big part of it is figuring out for your stakeholders, for your executive sponsors, what do they care about? What are they on the hook for? And you have to tie what you're doing to what they care about. And typically that's some form of revenue, profit, growth. It's probably going to be denominated in dollars, frankly. And so if your work is not, your benefits are not expressed in that language, then you're really going to struggle. So that's one big part of it. And then the other piece that I really like to emphasize is saying, okay, it's all very well, anybody can say this is going to make you, X million dollars.
Yep.
But you have to be believable, plausible. There has to be a plan that gets you from here to there. And the framework that I really like for this is actually a framework we've adopted for kind of productivity and management within the search pilot business. It's called the 4 disciplines of execution. There's a book called, they call it 4DX, the 4 disciplines of execution. And I won't get full into the whole framework right now, but the key thing is you have your big goal, right? Probably denominated in dollars, like I say. And you then are saying, I bet though, that to achieve that goal, I will achieve that goal if I do these things. And you connect you have a connection between actions and outcomes. And that's not certain, right? Everybody accepts that the world is uncertain. And so that's why I'm expressing it in the language of bets. I bet that if I do these things, we're going to get the results we want. And those things that you do, those are your lead metrics. So those are the things you measure. They're the things you report on week in, week out. Those numbers should change every week, every time you look at them. So that's, have you done the thing? Have you run enough tests? Have you, built enough pieces of content? Whatever the metric that you've chosen is. And it drills further down into that, into a whole kind of productivity structure. But the key thing, I think, is about having that carefully articulated plan with believable steps that lead you and measurable steps that lead you to the goal that is, as I say, denominated in dollars that the leadership really cares about.
Love that. Can you give some tips for an SEO, like just coming in on like looking, like finding out like the goals and the company objectives? I mean, if you're especially a consultant, because maybe if you're in-house, you'll get onboarded, but say like, I think you gave a nice nugget at the conference. It's like earnings calls, I think, was one of those things that you can go to and listen to. Yeah. Can you is there any other places that we can learn more?
So absolutely. So it very much obviously depends what kind of company you're working with. But if it's a large company, public company, then you have a goldmine of information in their written earnings reports, right? So they'll be filing quarterly earnings reports, their 10K and the like, with the authorities. Those are available. They're publicly available to read and download. And actually, ChatGPT is pretty good at helping you, interpret and search through those earnings reports. And every quarter, their leadership team, their CEO, will be getting on their earnings calls and getting asked questions by analysts and so forth. Now, I've actually been surprised that there isn't more discussion of the risks of different marketing channels, especially the organic channels, even for businesses that are super dependent on it. I saw a mention in, I think it was Etsy's, one of Etsy's quarterly filings that related to a Google update. I've seen certain references in Amazon back in the day, I think when Google moved the product listing, Google Shopping over to be entirely sponsored before they reversed that. These things occasionally make it into those earning calls, like directly. More often, you won't find a reference. You won't find a reference to SEO. You won't find a reference to Google or organic search. But what you will find is you'll find objectives articulated. So we were pitching someone the other day, and we found 2 things. We found an objective of growing their online channel by 50% by a specific date, right? So that was one objective that we didn't know about. And they also had, they do a blend of things, and they had one of their segments that they said, this one is lagging compared to the others. So this is a key focus for the business, and we're going to bring it up to this point. And this is just in the public information. We can just listen to their CEO talking, read the 10K, and get this information. And the little extra tip, bonus tip that I would give here is listen. Don't just look at the numbers. Listen to the language and the words that they use, because those words are almost certainly the same way that they're communicating internally. Right? Are they talking about margin? Are they talking about earnings, EBIT, profit? Like, they will have different, whatever the language, that's the language they will be using internally. When they're talking about, a 30% growth by 2030, or, whatever, they'll have these little turns of phrase that will be the way that the executive team is talking, the way the CEO is holding them accountable. If you can reflect that back to them in your work, you'll seem like an insider and seem like part of their team.
Love it. Yeah, that's some great stuff right there. I mean, it's like you'll like be like a psychic to them. It's like, oh wow, he knows what we want to do.
Love language.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, okay, so I'm curious now. Like, you also talk about like quick wins, like moving fast and proving worth. And in practice, how does this look like for like an SEO professional? Like, can you give an example of a quick win that had significant impact? Yeah.
So again, when I was talking in that presentation, I was very much coming from the angle of the way that we're working these days, and the work that we're doing, which is, as I say, on-site work, and typically for large websites. Though we work with some startups as well. I've got a great example, actually. So we started working with a new travel company in I think it was in January, and it's on a pilot program, right? So they said, let's do this piece of work together to prove that there's a long-term project to be done here. And going back to those metrics that I was just talking about, we said, well, okay, what does success of this program look like? And we figured out a mutual answer to that. But then the crucial thing was to say, what's the activities that would support that? And we're now tracking that as a burn down to say, okay, by the deadline, we need to have run that many tests, got this many winners, shown this much growth. And so, that's kind of how we're thinking about it. I think it's a little different depending on exactly your specialism. But if you're a consultant, so your job is to go in there and figure out the answer to some of this stuff. The way that some of the language that we used to talk about at Distilled was, we used to talk about 0-hour consulting. And this is the idea that, some folks might know my brother also works in SEO. Tom Critchlow used to work with me at Distilled, now independent consultant, and he runs the SEO MBA, which is a really useful kind of training resource that folks might find useful if they're into all of this stuff about how to be effective. And he and I used to talk about this a lot. And this is the idea that, imagine you've got a new client, right? You're an independent consultant, you've got a new client, you go and visit them on site, and it's the first day of your engagement. You haven't done any research yet. They haven't given you any data. You haven't, it's a kickoff basically. And it's a large organization. You walk in and you bump into the CEO in the elevator. It's just the two of you. And CEO turns to you and says, what are you here to do? And you tell the CEO what you're working on. And the CEO says, that's great. What are your priorities? What do you think is going to move the needle for us? Okay. And there's a fork in the road. Option one is you say, we're just kicking off. We don't know yet. Right. And option two is that you have to find some way to be memorable and some way to be as right as possible. And I think they actually teach this at places like McKinsey, the big consulting shops. They teach you to know the answers to these questions as you walk in the door. And it's not going to be the final polished answer, but it's going to be, this may change, but from what we've seen so far, the top 3 priorities are this. The number one thing we're going to be focusing on is that. And that can be at any level of detail, depending on how much chance you've had to dig under the covers. But my experience is you do know that answer. You are going to be right 19 times out of 20 with the experience of your gut, the work that you've done, the stuff you did in pre-sales. You've sold to this organization. You've done enough to understand them, to impress them. You probably do know. So don't hide that light. Do be prepared to do the 0 hours consulting bit and say, subject to what we're going to find, here's what I think the priority is going to look like.
Damn! Nice nugget there, right there. That elevator pitch, just right when you go there, you can sell this. If you can sell the CEO, you can lock in your contract a lot longer. Well, so you actually know, I'm curious about, you talk about like a SEO testing, and Search Pilot is to do some SEO testing. For those what are some basics of SEO testing that can help in securing and protecting budgets?
Yeah, so SEO testing is not for everyone, and actually, one of the interesting things is Search Pilot itself. We are not in our own target market, so we don't run tests on searchpilot.com. The website's too small, right? So most small B2B SaaS websites, those kinds of things, are not good testing grounds for the work that we do. So as I mentioned earlier, the work we do tends to be on those really big websites, and they tend to be they have what we call scalable site sections. So whether that's destination pages, routes, products, category pages, locations, any of those kind of things where you've got pages that are built from the same template, which allows you to run those kind of scientific tests where you divide the pages into sections. If that's your game, Search Pilot, come to chat to us. Like that's definitely, that's my game these days. For other folks, so if that's not you, what I recommend is a few things. The first is to realize that there are less scientific versions of those experiments that might still be helpful to you, right? So a big first step of this is just getting better at documenting what you did to the website when. And I'm really sad that annotations have gone away in GA4 because I used to like having them marked out on the chart. But have that ability to go back and say, look, can we see what went wrong on this page or that page, based on what we actually changed. And I see too many folks who can't tell you what changed on the website on a particular date. So that's kind of like hygiene level stuff. I like to gather, folks might have come across our newsletter. At Search Pilot, we publish every couple of weeks. We publish a new test result, right? And we put it as a Twitter quiz and a Twitter poll and a LinkedIn poll, all that stuff. The reason that we do that, a big part of the reason that we do that, is this is the content that I wish had existed when I was a consultant, when I was running an agency. I wish somebody had been putting out a newsletter full of test results, because they don't perfectly translate. That's the the whole reason that we need to keep testing is you can't just say blindly, oh, this works for website A, it's definitely going to work for website B. It doesn't work like that. But if you're a small business, you're B2B, you're SaaS, your website isn't huge, whatever it might be, and you can't run those scientific tests for yourself, the next best thing is learning from folks who can. And so that's kind of hopefully not too self-serving. As I say, the reason we built this is genuinely it's the content that I wish it existed when I was consulting.
Love that. Okay, so the next question comes from something that you've actually mentioned in a clip, and when I shot you at the conference on like you mentioned loss aversion, and it was actually something like interesting. I actually was like, what is this? And I actually even had to look it up. So I'm curious, how can some SEO teams use this psychological principle to their advantage in strategy planning and execution?
Right. So the idea of loss aversion is that it's a human psychology trait that I think we pretty much all share. Maybe Elon doesn't have it, I don't know, but like most normal human beings have this trait, which is we are, for any given amount, we are far more scared of losing that amount than we are excited to win that amount. And this has been borne out in tons of experiments, and unlike a lot of social sciences, it's very reproducible, and you see it in your own life. If I offer you a coin flip and you say, okay, you've got two options. Either you can have $100, or you can flip a coin, and if it comes up heads, you win $200. If it comes up tails, you get nothing. Okay. Right. And you're like, maybe I'd take the coin flip, right? But maybe it sounds at least a little bit exciting. You're at least considering the coin flip, right? Because it could be fun, especially if you're a bit of a gambler. Different game is you have to pay $100, but if the coin flip comes up against you, you have to pay $200. That sounds very unattractive. And there's a lot of these kind of experiments that show that we are much more wedded to the thing we have and scared of losing it than we are solid and confident in what we have and excited to gain from there. And so I think the way this applies to SEO is saying there's a lot of work that a lot of folks need to do to make sure that next year we don't lose traffic, right? That we don't fall behind our competitors. And they're all out there working away, creating their content, doing their publicity, whatever they might be doing, doing their technical work. And if we don't keep up, we're going to fall behind. And sometimes showing the cost of not doing the work is a more powerful selling and retention tool than showing the upside and the potential wins.
Love that, guys. And if you guys have any questions in the audience, please ask them in the live chat. I'm coming down to my last few questions here, and we're coming close to time as well. So be sure to go ahead and ask them before, so I can get them in our conversation here. So you actually talk about advocating for a strategy that involves making cheap changes with strong hypothesis first. Can you discuss how an SEO team can develop and prioritize such hypotheses, especially under budget constraints?
Yeah, so this is part of our framework that I call "We're doing business, not science." And I've talked a lot here about experimentation and testing and scientific method, but there's a big difference between what we do, even though it uses the same statistics, but there's a big difference between what we do and, say, a medical trial. If you're going to launch a new drug to treat heart disease, you're going to need to run that to the however many decimal places of confidence to say, we're very, very sure that this does what it's supposed to do, doesn't do any harm, and it is a good drug. What we're doing is typically not lives at stake in the same way, but speed becomes so much more important, right? So you would rather most governments around the world have taken the decision that they would rather that it took a couple more years to bring drugs to market, but you never bring bad drugs to market, or you like really, really, really put a lot of effort into not bringing bad drugs to market. And that means you move slowly, but with confidence. Business is generally not like that. In my view and my experience, what you want to do is you want to move fast with a safety net, without things going too badly wrong. And then pace really wins out. And so one of the big areas of focus for us these days is not just running individual tests, it's building effective experimentation cultures and programs within our customer organizations. And what that means is, you don't just throw things at the wall and test random ideas. You want to prioritize those test ideas, and in particular, you want to classify them into how, and this is what you're referring to, I think, is how strong is the hypothesis? How confident are we that this is a good idea? And how costly and difficult is it to implement and test this idea? And those, you've obviously got the perfect quadrant is the cheap, high confidence ideas. There aren't as many of those as you might hope for. So then you have to figure out what to do in the other quadrants. And the approach that we kind of take is we say, if it's a relatively cheap change, then just run the test, run it to run it as quickly as you can. If it's a strong hypothesis, in other words, if you couldn't test, this is the kind of thing that you would have just rolled out blindly, then don't run the test to statistical significance. Just run it long enough to be fairly confident it's not negative, right? You don't need to quantify exactly how positive it is. You're just saying, let's make sure that we haven't screwed up here and it's not going to drag us down. So if folks want to read more about this, it's hard to explain in just a minute or two, but you can Google business, not science, search for that and find some of my writing and probably talking about that as well.
Love that. Business, not science. I'm curious too, how do you come up with test ideas? I mean, there's so many. I'm curious, how, when it comes to clients, or do you go to your clients and say, "Hey, let's test this, test that," or "We want to test this"? I mean, how are you guys coming up with actual testing ideas?
We like to get those ideas from all kinds of places. So sometimes the folks on the customer site will have their own ideas, of course, right? We work with many incredibly smart in-house SEO teams, and they'll have their own ideas. Of course, that begs the question: where do they get their ideas from? So typical sources, you get ideas from classic SEO work, right? So an audit. Most in-house teams have 5 audits sitting in a drawer that their recent agencies have done for them. You dig out those audits and you say, okay, of all these ideas, which haven't we implemented for whatever reason? That's a source of test ideas.
Got it.
Old school SEO work to figure things out. Competitors is a big one for me. So I really like just pulling up multiple competitor websites of the equivalent page. So if we're looking at, flights from London to New York, then you're going to want to pull that up on Expedia, on Booking, on all the big travel sites, and just look at them, understand what are these competitors doing that we're not doing right now. And that's not to say that they may not have done it right, but it's a source of inspiration, a source of ideas. And the other big one that we have, of course, is we just have our hopper of all the test ideas we've ever had for any customer. And as I said, we publish a lot of these on the website, and so folks can have a search around on the Search Pilot site. But internally, that's another source for us, is just to go, okay, what test ideas have we ever come up with that we could experiment with here?
Love that. So all the test ideas and results you actually publish that and give freely to like everyone, and
as much as we can. Now, of course, there are some limits from different customers give us different levels of permission to say, some folks are very secretive and don't want anything published. Some say you can publish it without our name. Some we can't publish all the stats. So we try and give away as much as we can. And as I say, I think it's the resource that I wish had existed when I was a consultant.
Oh yeah. Test results. I mean, it's almost like a shortcut. It's like you don't have to do it. You don't have to make that same mistake, right? Finally, kind of like my last main question here. Could you share your thoughts on the future of SEO in the context of evolving like the search engine algorithms, especially with these new updates? I'm curious if you have any tests on that, or if it's just too early to do any testing. How should SEOs prepare for these changes?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think our experience in recent years has been I wrote a post about this, about testing in a world of core updates, because core updates come along every however often, and they're like a reset. My theory is that it's I don't know how much this has been validated, that each core update is like a retraining of a large model, and Google isn't yet able to do it in real time. Now, my prediction is that's going to move closer and closer to real time. If you look at the history of Google, when I got started, there was the Google dance, right? And it would take months for anything you did to reflect in rankings. Then when Panda came out, it was a batch process. When Penguin came out, it was a batch process. Those things are now real-time parts of the algorithm. They're just incorporated routinely as part of the caffeine update and those kind of things to enable that on an infrastructure side. So I would put money, I'm putting money on the core updates becoming an increasingly continuous part and not being these kind of big batch processes. So that's one thing that I think folks should be expecting. Our experience has been that if you continually test and move the needle in the right direction between core updates, then over time you're skating to where the puck is going to be in terms of those core updates push in the same direction. Google is rewarding the things that ultimately they want to reward, whether it's user experience, user satisfaction, whatever it might be. The final piece of that puzzle, or maybe not final, but another point to make is there are some bigger things happening right now. When you look at large language models, artificial intelligence, search generative experience, Gemini, what was Bard, all that stuff. That stuff's fascinating. And we are going to all probably, as users, get a great deal of value out of it. My view right now is it's not going to upend things overnight in terms of the work that we do as SEOs. And the main few reasons for that are user behavior is stickier than you think, right? So there were still folks using AOL dial-up CDs for a decade or two. And that was a sensible thing to do. User experience is sticky. Chat is not, in my opinion, the right interface for a lot of the things that we use Google for, particularly the more commercial end of things. And Google is going to have to roll this stuff out in a way that is compatible with their business model. We haven't really seen advertising embedded in SGE stuff just yet. And so I think, yes, big change is no doubt coming in the next decade. I'm sure that all kinds of things are going to change radically. Is everything dropping off a cliff in the next year? No, I don't think so. And in fact, I tend to think that just like many of these panics that we've had in the past about search quality in 2009, that was alleviated with Panda, Penguin, that when you look back at the early days of my career in search, everybody was worried that search was going to be killed by social, that instead of searching, we were all going to ask our friends on Facebook what product to buy or where to eat or whatever it might be. And of course we did those things, but we didn't do it instead of searching. We did it as well as searching. And a lot of this stuff, you see the trajectory of search volume with social on top. And my view is there is so much further to go for the web, for internet, for search as a whole, and that the chat stuff and the AI stuff is going to be an exciting layer on top, just like social was an exciting layer on top of search. And I think that's going to be great. And that my final data-driven argument for that is you look at the penetration of e-commerce. So if you might think someone like Amazon is a monopoly because they're such a behemoth online, but the whole of online is like, I don't think it's even 10% of all commerce, right?
Yep.
So there is so much further to go for us to move our purchasing into the places that that we all work in the digital space. And I think that more and more money is going to be spent on the internet, and I don't think search is going anywhere anytime soon.
Love that. Okay, my final question I ask all my SEO professionals that come on here is that if someone wants to become an SEO professional themselves and get into the SEO industry, what would your advice be to them?
Interestingly, now that I no longer run one, I would encourage folks to go and work at an agency, a high quality agency. I think early career, it is the best way of getting access to a wide range of clients, industries, verticals, get the training to see the different kinds. Do you enjoy technical? Do you enjoy content? Do you enjoy creative? Like you get to explore all those kinds of things. If you are on the more kind of technical, statistical on-site end, and you know that, then come and chat to me, because we'd love you to work with us. But I think for many folks that's a great way in. But couple it with curiosity and your own drive. Try things out. The internet is still a place where anyone can publish themselves. So you can build your own sites, you can get them indexed, you can set up your own search console, you can set up your own analytics. And I would encourage everyone to do that. No matter how technical or not you think you are, you will learn a lot by doing that. So do your own stuff, tinker and explore with curiosity, and get some mentors who can guide you along that way.
Love it. And for this episode to feel complete for you, any last words, and how can people get a hold of you?
Well, it's been an absolute pleasure coming on. So thank you for inviting me. And no, I think I love chatting to folks about any kind of SEO. Obviously testing. You also might know I'm a massive robots.txt geek. If anybody wants to quiz me about robots.txt, then that's my jam. So I'm at Will Critchlow on Twitter and LinkedIn. Those are pretty good places to find me. I am on Threads. I'm trying to get more with the Threads program, but we'll see how that goes. And if you do enjoy this kind of video content, keep subscribing here. But I'm also trying to live stream on my own channels once a week as well. So if folks follow me on those platforms, they can check those out and give me a shout.
Love it. And you live stream on LinkedIn too, right? I think you broadcast to LinkedIn, or is it just on YouTube?
Twitter and my Twitter and LinkedIn, and the Search Pilot YouTube is where the live streams go out. Yeah. Got it. Everyone, let's give a round of applause. Thank you so much, Will, for coming on. Can you hold on for one quick second while I sign off here? Just hold on for 1 quick second. Of course. All
right, guys, that concludes another episode of the SEO Video Show. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. And support our sponsors, SEOnitro.com and search-intelligence.co.uk. Till next time, I will see you guys next week. Peace out.
Thank you for watching. Hope you come back next week. Make sure to subscribe. You don't want to miss a thing. Hope you learn something new, because the vibe is incredible. From the special SEO professionals, SEO video show. Let's work. Want to see you be an SEO expert. Paul Andre DeVera helping you step it up. No delay right now. Time to level up. Hey, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe. Woo!